I could replace you by dinner. You're not that special. Trust me, I've got many options. My girlfriend mocked, so I helped her test the theory and left. 3 months later, she's broke, jobless, and begging her options for rent money. Hey Reddit, long-time lurker, first-time poster here. Never thought I'd end up writing one of these, but I've got a story that still blows my mind when I think about it. Let's just say it involves an entitled X, a lesson in self-respect, and the kind of peace you only find after walking away from chaos. Buckle up, it gets wild. Miranda had this way of making everything about her, even when she was wrong, especially when she was wrong. We'd been together a year and a half, not long enough for me to call it forever, but long enough to realize that dating someone who thinks Instagram followers equal intelligence is a special kind of punishment. When we first started dating, she was funny and confident, but somewhere between hitting 10,000 followers and discovering Canva templates, she turned into a full-time expert on everything. It got to the point where I couldn't tell if I was dating her or just being cast as an audience member in the Miranda show. That Thursday night, I came home to find her sitting cross-legged on the couch, laptop open, wearing one of my hoodies, which she called hers now. She was grinning at her screen like she'd just solved world hunger. "Guess what?" she said, flipping the laptop around like she was about to show me the cure for boredom. "I booked us for my cousin's graduation party in Utah. It's next weekend." I blinked. "Booked us?" "Yeah, flights, hotel, everything. It's going to be so fun." "Did you check with me first?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even. Her smile dropped instantly. "Check with you? For what? For whether I can get time off work?" She rolled her eyes, sighing like I'd just asked her to explain gravity. "Malcolm, you're a man. You don't get to have an opinion on stuff like that." I froze. "Come again?" "You heard me," she said, folding her arms. "You guys love controlling everything." So for once, I made a decision. I leaned on the back of the chair, smirking. "Cool. Guess I'll use my voicelessness to pack my own bags then. Where are we staying? Your ego or reality?" Her jaw dropped. "Wow. Real mature. Just matching the energy." She scoffed, pretending to go back to her laptop. "You're overreacting. You always do this, Malcolm. You twist everything to make me look bad." "No, Miranda," I said, grabbing a glass of water from the counter. "You do that part on your own. I just narrate it." That one landed. She glared at me like she wanted to throw the MacBook. "God, you think you're so much smarter than me, don't you?" "Smarter? Number. Just less allergic to common sense." She stood up, arms crossed. "You think you're my only option? There's plenty of fish in the sea." She looked me up and down. "I just happened to settle for the smallest one." I chuckled. "Good thing I'm not relying on your validation." She laughed. Too loud, too fake, and stormed off to the bedroom. Door slam. Classic Miranda exit. I sat on the couch, staring at the TV that wasn't even on. It hit me that I wasn't angry. Not really. I was just done. Like someone finally turned the volume down on the chaos, and I could hear myself think again. The rest of the night, I replayed everything in my head. Every snide remark. Every "you wouldn't understand." Every time she'd called me boring, because I preferred reading to clubbing. She always acted like she was auditioning for some invisible panel of judges, trying to prove she was the hottest, smartest person in the room. And if that meant cutting me down in the process, so be it. Once, we were at a small dinner with her friends, her content creators, as she called them. I made an offhand comment about saving money for a house someday. Miranda smirked and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Malcolm thinks owning a house makes you superior. Isn't that cute?" I looked at her friends, then back at her. "Yeah, I know. I should have just bought followers instead. Way better investment." Her friends burst out laughing. She didn't. That was the first time I noticed her eyes lose that fake sparkle. Tonight felt the same. Like the moment someone realizes the mirror isn't flattering them anymore. Around midnight, she came out, pretending nothing happened. "So, you're still mad?" "Nope," I said, scrolling through my phone. "So you're okay with Utah?" "Nope." She huffed. "You're impossible." "And you're entitled," I said without looking up. "Guess we both have hobbies." She stomped back to the bedroom, muttering something about men being fragile. I smiled to myself. I wasn't fragile. I was free. That night, lying in bed, I realized something simple but heavy. I wasn't in a relationship. I was running a daycare for a grown woman who thought self-awareness was optional. And the worst part? I'd let it happen. Not anymore. Next time she'd try to pull her, "You're a man, you don't get to have an opinion" act, I'd give her something to have an opinion about. My exit. That thought stuck with me the whole night. When I got up the next morning, Miranda was already gone, probably at some overpriced coffee shop pretending to work. For the first time, I noticed how quiet the place was. Peaceful almost. And that peace hit me harder than any argument we'd ever had. I started thinking about how much I'd actually been doing for her. Groceries? Always me. Rent? I covered more than half, even though the lease was in her name. Utilities? My card. Every time she'd say, "Babe, can you spot me till next week?" it really meant, pay for it because I bought fake eyelashes again. But now that the lease was under her name, thank God for that. Leaving would be easy. No legal strings, no messy debates about furniture. She could keep the apartment. She could also keep the bills. I sat down at my desk, opened a notepad, and typed at the top, Operation Reality Check. Step 1, get out. Step 2, cut the freebies. Step 3, let her meet her options. While I was planning, a memory popped up, the night she tried to humiliate me in front of her friends. We were at some downtown rooftop place her influencer buddy had invited her to, which really meant she begged to tag along and pretended it was exclusive. Her friends were all sipping sparkling water and pretending they ran businesses. One of them asked what I did, and when I said IT support, Miranda smirked. She said, "Malcolm doesn't really get the whole luxury thing. He's more of a buy-it-on-sale type." I could have let it slide, but her smug tone did something to me. I leaned back and said, "Yeah, I don't get luxury. I just pay for it." Silence. Then laughter. From everyone. But her. She went pale. I didn't even have to look at her to know she was fuming. She spent the rest of the night scrolling through her phone like it owed her an apology. That's when I realized her pride mattered more than the relationship ever did. And that was the same pride I was about to crush, without lifting a finger. That Friday, while she was out consulting, which I later found out meant taking selfies at Target, I got to work. First stop, our phone plan. She was still on my family plan because it's just easier. Logged in, removed her line, done. She could go get her own number, her own bill, her own reality. Next, the gym membership. The one she loved to brag about but rarely used for anything other than mirror selfies. Cancelled. Streaming services? Logged her out of everything. Changed all the passwords. Then, I packed. My stuff first. The TV, the gaming console, my coffee maker, clothes, tools, and the good bed sheets. All mine. I left her things untouched. Even the tacky pink rug she bought for aesthetic. The apartment almost looked empty after I was done. It was weirdly satisfying. Every drawer I emptied, every item I packed, felt like pulling my energy back from a black hole. While I worked, I called my best friend Danny. "Yo," he answered. "You sound like you're either getting arrested or finally leaving that girl." "The second one," I said, grinning. He whistled. "About damn time. My couch is ready for your freedom party." "I'm not crashing there," I said. "You still got that extra room?" "Yeah, man." "When?" "How's this weekend?" He laughed. "You serious?" "Dead serious." "Good. I'll stock up on snacks." By the time Miranda got home that evening, I was gone. The apartment looked half empty. TV stand bare, closet missing my clothes, coffee maker gone. On the kitchen counter, I left a note. "You're right. You've got options. Here's your chance to use them. Rent's due on the 1st. Good luck." And I signed it with a little smiley face. I locked the door from the outside, dropped the keys through the mail slot, and didn't look back. At Danny's place, I felt like I could breathe for the first time in months. He had already set up my old gaming chair in his living room like a throne. "Welcome to freedom, my guy," he said, handing me a soda. "To no more influencer drama and zero, you don't get to have an opinion speeches." "Cheers to that," I said, clinking cans. We played video games until 2 a.m., laughing the whole time. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't waiting for someone to yell from another room, "Malcolm, can you do this for me?" The silence was beautiful. The kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. It feels earned. That night, as I lay on Danny's couch scrolling through my phone, I opened Miranda's Instagram out of habit. She'd just posted a story. Her dinner, captioned, "Queens don't need permission." I laughed. "Yeah, queens don't need permission. They just need rent money." The next morning, my phone looked like it had survived a war. 22 missed calls, 17 texts, 3 voicemails, all from Miranda. Even though I'd already removed her from my phone plan, she clearly found other ways. "Malcolm, this isn't funny. Why is the apartment empty? Where are you? You can't just leave like that. Be an adult." The irony almost made me choke on my cereal. I put my phone face down and went back to my food. The peace in Danny's apartment was unreal. By 10 a.m., the calls started again. Then came the voicemails. The first one was her crying. The second one was her yelling. The The third one was a mixture of both. Malcolm, you're acting like a child. Grow up and come home. You can't just walk away from responsibilities. Responsibilities. She really said that like she'd ever had one. I ignored every message. Danny was on the couch next to me, half asleep, scrolling on his phone. She's gonna blow up your phone for at least 3 days, he mumbled. Then she'll switch to I miss you texts. Classic cycle. Yeah, I said, smirking. Let her enjoy the silence she never gave me. It was true. Being alone felt clean, like someone opened a window after months of stale air. While sipping coffee, I thought about all the times I'd warned her. Flashback to 3 months earlier. Her phone blowing up with notifications at dinner. I jokingly asked her, "You flirting with people again?" She looked up and said, "Oh my God, Malcolm, relax. You can't handle a little fun. You're too serious." Too serious. That was always her line. She'd use it anytime she got caught being disrespectful. Like the time she posted thirst traps with the caption, "Single energy." I warned her, "Keep playing like that, and I'll walk." She laughed in my face. "You won't. You love me too much." Now, that memory made me laugh harder than any comedy show ever could. By noon, she'd switched tactics. "I'm sorry, okay? Can we talk? I didn't mean what I said. You know I love you. Why would you do this to me?" I didn't reply. Instead, I did something I hadn't done in over a year. Opened Tinder. Not because I was looking for anyone. I just wanted to see what normal people looked like again. Danny peeked over my shoulder. "Oh no, my boy's back on the market. Women of the world, be afraid." "Relax," I said, scrolling. "Just browsing." Within an hour, I had 5 matches. A couple were randoms, but 2 of them? Familiar faces. One was Kendra, a girl who used to hang out with Miranda's brunch squad. The other was Tasha, who used to comment under Miranda's posts with, "Your goals, girl." I didn't message them. Didn't have to. Word travels fast in their circle. Sure enough, by that evening, Danny showed me a screenshot someone sent him. Miranda had posted a story. Some people move on fast. Shows who they really were. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. Fast? It's been 24 hours. Bro, in her world, that's like betrayal level speed, Danny said, grinning. An hour later, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I picked up. "Malcolm?" It was Jade, one of her calmer friends. "Yeah? Miranda's at my place crying. Says you just disappeared. What's going on?" "I moved out," I said simply. "What? Why?" "She said I wasn't her only option, so I'm letting her explore the others." Silence. Then Jade sighed. "She's not taking it well." "Yeah, I figured," I said. "She'll adjust. Eventually." "Can I be honest?" Jade said quietly. "She kind of brought this on herself. We've all told her she was being, mean to you. She didn't listen." "Appreciate that," I said. "But I'm not mad anymore. Just done." After we hung up, I sat back on the couch. Danny was watching me like a proud coach. "You handled that like a boss. No yelling, no begging, no drama." "Yeah," I said, "because I'm finally playing the one card she never expected." "What's that?" Silence. The next morning, I woke up to another storm of notifications, this time from her friends. "Hey, Miranda's losing it." "What happened?" Tasha got another text from Kendra. "She's saying you ghosted her and stole the TV. Also, I matched with you on Tinder." Lol, small world. I chuckled. I hadn't even said anything to Kendra yet, but that one text told me everything I needed to know. Miranda's perfect image was starting to crack. Later that day, Danny came home from work and tossed me a soda. "So, what's the move now?" "Nothing," I said. "Let her keep talking. The more she talks, the more people see who she really is." "Cold," he said with a grin. "I like it." That night, while we were gaming, my phone buzzed again. Same number as before. "Malcolm." It was Miranda. She'd borrowed Jade's phone. "Malcolm." It was Miranda. She'd borrowed Jade's phone. I sighed. "Hey, Miranda. What is wrong with you?" She snapped. "You can't just leave me like this. You're acting like a psycho." "I'm not acting like anything," I said calmly. "You said I wasn't your only option, remember? I'm giving you the space to find the others." There was silence on the line. Then, "You're such an—" "Bye, Miranda." I hung up before she finished. 2 hours later, Jade texted me again. She's crying again. Says she can't pay rent. I told her to chill. Thought you should know. I stared at the message for a few seconds. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel guilty. I just felt free. It was like breathing clean air after being stuck in a room full of smoke for months. But apparently, freedom had an alarm system attached to it, because Miranda wasn't done trying to drag me back into chaos. 2 days later, I was at work, halfway through fixing a network issue in the psychology department when I got a call from reception. "Hey, Malcolm," the receptionist said hesitantly. "There's a woman here asking for you. Says her name's Miranda." I froze. "Describe her." Tall, long brown hair, big sunglasses, very loud." "Yep, that was her." "Yeah, I don't know a Miranda," I said flatly. "Please ask her to leave." "Copy that," she said, trying not to laugh. I peeked out my office window a few minutes later, and sure enough, there she was in the lobby, waving her hands and arguing with security. She was pointing toward the elevators, shouting my name. "Malcolm, you can't just ignore me. We need to talk." Security escorted her out while students filmed the whole thing. I just stood by the window, watching her stomp across the parking lot like an angry toddler denied candy. 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Malcolm, it's Mrs. Carrinson," her mom said softly. "What's going on with you and Miranda?" She came home crying. "Hi, Mrs. Carrinson," I said, polite but tired. "I moved out." "Moved out?" "She said you just disappeared." "She also said I was a man who doesn't get to have an opinion," I replied calmly. "I decided to test that theory." "Oh, Malcolm," she sighed. "She's saying she can't afford rent." "I know," I said. "That's between her and her landlord now." "She didn't mean to hurt you," she said gently. "I believe you," I said. "But meaning well doesn't pay bills, and it doesn't fix disrespect." There was a pause. "You're a good man, Malcolm. I'm sorry for, well, everything." That one actually surprised me. "Thank you, Mrs. Carrinson. I hope she learned something from this." "I hope so too," she said quietly. After that, I figured the storm would calm down. I was wrong. By evening, Miranda was in full performance mode on Instagram. Some men can't handle strong women. The comeback will be legendary. Every caption screamed desperation disguised as empowerment. Danny looked over my shoulder as I scrolled through her feed. "Bro, she's one inspirational quote away from selling pyramid scheme vitamins." I laughed. Let her. She's trying to convince herself more than anyone else. Meanwhile, I posted what I actually enjoyed. Gym selfies with no filters, movie nights with Danny, gaming clips. No drama, no subtweets, just peace. And it drove her insane. Every time I posted, someone from her circle would message me like, "She saw your story, she's fuming." Good. Then Danny got that particular glint in his eye, the one that usually meant I should start preparing bail money. "Bro," he said, spinning around in his chair. "Hear me out." "Already nervous," I said. "I'm making a Tinder profile. Fake one. Just to mess with her." "Danny, no, listen, she wants options? Let's give her one." Before I could stop him, he was already typing. New profile, new photos, some random stock photo guy in sunglasses. Name, Randy, 29. Bio, entrepreneur, loves travel and confident women. "Perfect," he said. Exactly her bait. Within an hour, Randy matched with Miranda. He showed me his phone like a proud scientist revealing a new species. Boom. She swiped right. "No way," I said, leaning closer. "Already?" "Oh yeah." She messaged first too. He read it aloud. "Hey, handsome. You look familiar." We both burst out laughing. Danny started chatting with her as Randy. They talked for 2 days. She flirted nonstop, dropping hints about how she'd finally moved on from a toxic ex. Then she sent a message that made me laugh so hard I dropped my controller. "Already found my replacement." Of course, she sent the same text to me. Like clockwork. I didn't even reply. Danny just grinned. Hook, line, and delusional sinker. They planned a date. Saturday, 7 p.m., fancy outdoor restaurant downtown. When the time came, Danny sat in his car across the street, sipping a soda like it was popcorn at a movie. He watched her arrive, heels, bright dress, hair done, scanning every guy who walked past. At 7:20, she texted Randy, "Hey, I'm here. Table for 2. Danny typed back, "Saw you from a distance. Didn't expect you to look so different in real life. I'll pass." A few seconds later, her body language changed completely. She froze, reread the message, and then her face crumpled. She started pacing, muttering, then shouting. She yelled something like, "Are you kidding me?" and threw her napkin on the ground. People were staring. The waiter tried to calm her down. She stormed out crying, bumping into a waiter and knocking over a chair on the way. Danny filmed the whole thing from across the street, laughing so hard the camera shook. He sent the video to me with the caption, "Nobody messes with my best friend." When I saw it, I laughed until my stomach hurt. "Bro!" I gasped between laughs. "You're insane." He grinned. "Nah, I'm loyal." The next day, Miranda posted another story. "Some people fake being nice, but karma never lies." I just smiled. Karma didn't lie. It just had Danny's sense of humor. That night, sitting on the couch with a beer in hand and the sound of laughter echoing from Danny's room, I felt lighter than I had in years. Not because she was embarrassed, not because I'd won, but because, for the first time, I didn't care what she did next. The weight was gone. Completely. For about a week, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Which with Miranda meant she was planning something. Sure enough, one morning I woke up to Danny standing in my doorway, holding his phone like it was radioactive. Bro, you might want to see this. I took it. There it was. A Facebook post, 3 paragraphs long, written by none other than Miss Strong Independent Woman herself. Some men manipulate you with money. They pretend to be generous, but really it's control. That's called financial abuse. I lost everything because I trusted the wrong person. She'd even attached a photo of herself looking sad on her couch. I laughed. Financial abuse? She didn't even pay for her own Hulu. Danny snorted. Bro, she couldn't abuse a free trial. For a minute, I actually wondered if people would buy her story. But then I remembered. This is the same woman who once made an Instagram reel bragging about how her boyfriend spoils her because she deserves it. Sure enough, by noon, her old posts started resurfacing. Screenshots everywhere. People commented things like, "Didn't you say he paid for everything because you manifested a provider? Girl, you called him your ATM 3 months ago." It was beautiful. Watching her trip over her own lies in real time was like free entertainment. But Miranda wasn't done embarrassing herself. The next weekend, one of our mutual friends, Lila, hosted a small get-together. I didn't plan to go, but Danny insisted. Come on, man. She's not going to show, plus there's wings. He said wings like it was a peace treaty. So I went. Big mistake. Well, entertaining mistake. Halfway through the night, the door slammed open, and in she walked. Miranda. Full makeup, oversized sunglasses indoors, and the kind of entrance that screamed, I need attention more than oxygen. The room went silent. Oh, look who decided to show up, Danny muttered under his breath. Miranda spotted me across the room and locked in like a heat-seeking missile. Malcolm, she started, voice trembling like she was rehearsing for a soap commercial. How could you do this to me? I didn't even look up from my plate. Do what exactly? You ruined my reputation, she yelled. Everyone's talking about me like I'm some gold digger. Danny coughed. Wonder why. She spun toward him. Stay out of this, Danny. He raised his soda can like a toast. You brought me into it the moment you showed up uninvited. The room chuckled. She realized nobody was defending her. Even Lila looked uncomfortable. Maybe if you treated people with respect, they'd respect you back, I said calmly. Miranda's face flushed red. You think you're so perfect, don't you? No, I said. I just think I pay my own bills. The laughter hit her like a slap. She stormed out, mumbling something about fake friends. A week later came the Utah graduation party. Remember the one she booked without asking me? Well, she went alone. And from what I heard, it was a disaster. Alyssa, her cousin, texted me out of nowhere. Hey, Malcolm. Just curious, are you and Miranda still together? She told everyone you were coming to Utah this weekend. I replied, Nope, haven't been together for weeks. Within hours, drama erupted in their family group chat. Miranda had been bragging for days about her perfect boyfriend, even claimed I paid for the hotel. Turns out she never even booked it. She'd planned to crash with relatives and pretend I was running late. Alyssa exposed her lies mid-party. Miranda ended up crying in the bathroom while her aunt chewed her out for embarrassing the family. And somehow, that wasn't rock bottom yet. 10 days later, I was in line at a coffee shop, waiting for my drink, scrolling my phone, when I heard a voice behind me. Malcolm! I turned. It was her. She looked tired. Puffy eyes, messy hair, the fake confidence fading. Miranda. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't. Yes, we do, she snapped. Then her eyes flicked around, noticing the people nearby. Actually, I should just say it here. Before I could stop her, she raised her voice. I'm pregnant. The cafe went silent. Heads turned. I blinked. Okay? She put a hand dramatically over her stomach. It's yours. I couldn't help it. I laughed, loud. Miranda, we haven't slept together in over 2 months. She hesitated. I have late cycles. Yeah? I said, leaning closer. Then go to the bathroom because you're not pregnant, you're bloated. The barista snorted. Someone near the counter laughed out loud. Miranda's face turned crimson. You're disgusting, she hissed. And you're delusional, I replied calmly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a latte waiting. I picked up my drink, nodded to the barista, and walked past her like she was invisible. As I left, I heard her yell something like, "You'll regret this," followed by more laughter from the customers. When I got outside, Danny called me. I told him what happened. "Brother, did she really just fake a pregnancy in public?" "Yep," I said, sipping my coffee, and I told her to use the bathroom. He was laughing so hard he had to hang up. That night, someone sent me a screenshot. Miranda's latest story was gone. Her entire account had gone private. The meltdown was complete. And for the first time, she wasn't the one laughing. But apparently, humiliation didn't cure delusion. Because 2 days later, Miranda decided her next big move was to start a GoFundMe. The title read, "Survivor of Financial Abuse Needs Help Rebuilding Life." Her goal, $10,000. The description was a masterclass in manipulation. I was trapped in a controlling relationship where everything I owned was taken from me. Please help me get back on my feet. Every dollar helps. Dollar. She even added a crying selfie for effect. Danny read it out loud while I was making breakfast. Financial abuse. Bro, she used your Amazon Prime for 2 years. I laughed. She's not rebuilding her life. She's rebuilding her Starbucks budget. By day 2, the GoFundMe had a whopping $73. And that was from her mom. The comments were brutal. "Girl, maybe get a real job? So he paid your bills and that's abuse now? This is embarrassing. Delete this." She did. By the end of the week, the campaign was gone. That's when she switched to rage mode. Monday morning, I walked out to my car and stopped dead. Key marks down both sides. Rearview mirror snapped clean off. A deep dent in the hood, like someone had stomped on it. Danny walked out holding his coffee, whistled low and said, "Well, someone failed art class." I checked the security camera on the building. There she was at 1:48 a.m. Hoodie up, baseball cap on, but the outfit was a dead giveaway. The same pink hoodie with the huge Boss Babe logo she always wore. Her car was parked right in front, plates clear as day, and the camera caught her face for half a second when she looked up at the lens. I didn't even get mad. I just called the cops. Between the footage and the plate number, they said it was open and shut. When the officer asked if I knew who the suspect was, I said, "My ex. She's the Picasso of poor decisions." They laughed but wrote it down. 2 days later, she outdid herself. It was around 8 p.m. when Danny and I were in the middle of a gaming match. Suddenly, pounding on the door. Loud, angry. Danny paused the game. "Please tell me that's the pizza guy." The pounding came again. "Malcolm, I know you're in there." Danny sighed. "Never mind. That's not pepperoni. That's crazy." I opened the blinds. Miranda was outside, red-faced, mascara streaked, yelling at the top of her lungs. "Come out, coward! You ruined my life!" Danny shook his head. Man, she's got the dramatic range of a Lifetime movie. Before I could call the cops, she shoved the door open. I'd forgotten to lock the bottom latch. She stormed in, screaming, "You think you can just walk away from me?" I stepped back. "Miranda, get out." "No!" she screamed, grabbing a nearby picture frame from the wall. It was one of Danny's paintings. A simple, abstract piece, but it was his favorite. She hurled it against the wall. Glass shattered everywhere. Danny froze, eyes wide. "Oh, man," he said, voice flat. "That was my favorite painting." Miranda spun toward him. "Shut up!" Then she grabbed one of the glass shards from the floor, turned to me, and pointed it like a knife. "You don't get to ignore me!" Danny's voice dropped its usual sarcasm. "Put that down, Miranda." She took a step closer. "You destroyed my life." I kept my voice calm. "You did that all by yourself." Danny was already dialing. "Yeah, hi, we need police at—" Before he could finish, she swung her arm. Not at me, just wildly. The shard sliced the air a few inches away. That was enough. Danny yelled, "Back up, bro!" and stepped between us like some kind of sarcastic Secret Service agent. "You really thought this was a good idea?" he said to her, holding up his phone. "Because the police are literally on their way right now." Miranda froze. For the first time, she looked scared. When the siren started echoing down the block, she panicked. Dropped the shard, back toward the wall, muttering, "I didn't mean to. He made me." The cops came fast. 2 officers stepped in, saw the glass, the dented frame, the mess, and immediately restrained her. She screamed the whole time. "He's lying. They're all lying. He ruined me." I stood there silent while they cuffed her. Danny leaned against the wall, shaking his head. "Well, that's one way to get attention." The officer turned to me. "You okay, sir?" "Yeah," I said. "Just tired. Would you like to press charges?" I nodded. "Absolutely." They took her away. I'll never forget the sound of her voice fading down the hallway. After they left, Danny started sweeping up the glass. Man, I knew she was unhinged, but this? Next level. I'm adding a deadbolt. Add 2. I said. He looked over his shoulder. You filing a restraining order? First thing tomorrow. And I did. I walked into the courthouse, handed them the police report, the video from my security camera, and the photos of my car. The judge didn't even hesitate, approved an ex parte temporary restraining order, and set a hearing for 2 weeks out. When I got home, Danny was waiting by the door, pretending to scan the parking lot like a bodyguard. Sir, he said in a fake deep voice, the perimeter's clear. Ex-girlfriend activity, 0. I chuckled. Appreciate the service. He grinned. Part of the roommate package comes with sarcasm and protection. That night, we sat on the balcony, pizza boxes open, watching the streetlights flicker. Crazy thing is, Danny said, you didn't even do anything wild. You just stopped helping her destroy herself. Yeah, I said quietly, and she couldn't handle that. He nodded, raising a slice. To peace and police reports. I clinked my soda can against his. To peace. For the first time, I actually believed it. Months passed, and life got quiet in the best possible way. No drama, no police reports, no 3 a.m. screaming fits, just peace. I woke up early, hit the gym before work, came home to a clean apartment, and slept like a human instead of a hostage. Work started going better too. Without chaos draining me, I was focused. I fixed a whole network issue that had been driving the IT team nuts for months. My boss called me into his office and said, Malcolm, you've been killing it lately. Let's talk promotion. That was the day I realized how much energy I'd wasted babysitting someone who didn't even respect me. Meanwhile, Danny had turned the apartment into what he proudly called the Bachelor Palace. Gaming setup, surround sound, mini fridge stocked with energy drinks, not a throw pillow in sight. The living room was a perfect balance between chaos and comfort. Every Friday, we'd order pizza, fire up the console, and talk trash like teenagers. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. Around that time, I ran into Kendra, one of Miranda's ex-friends, the one I'd accidentally matched with on Tinder months back. We met for coffee, mostly out of curiosity. We talked for hours. She told me she'd stopped being friends with Miranda long before the big meltdown. She got too fake, Kendra said. Everything was competition with her, even friendships. I laughed. Sounds about right. We started seeing each other more after that. Nothing forced, no games, no weird power struggles. Just real. While my life was getting better, Miranda's was going up in flames. I didn't go looking for updates, but they found me anyway. One of her old friends messaged Danny on Instagram saying, "You won't believe this, Miranda got evicted." Apparently, after the vandalism charge, she lost her job. Her parents took her in temporarily, but that didn't last long either, because she borrowed her dad's credit card to buy plane tickets to some influencer retreat in Arizona. They kicked her out. Now she was living with some sketchy guy she met online. The same friend said the guy was weirdly controlling, but Miranda insisted he believed in her potential. Danny looked up from the message and said, "That's rich." She downgraded from stable to sketchy real fast. I didn't even react. I just nodded. I didn't destroy her, I said finally. I just stopped saving her. And that was the truth. All I'd done was stop being her safety net. Once I was gone, gravity did the rest. One evening, Kendra came over with groceries, and that easy smile that made everything feel calm. She looked around the apartment and laughed. "You two really turned this place into a man cave." Danny popped his head out of the kitchen. "Correction, a clean man cave. We vacuum now." She grinned. "That's progress." We spent the night cooking, joking, playing music. Simple, good energy. No drama. Later, after Kendra left, Danny and I sat on the balcony again. The city lights stretched out below us, and for once, the world felt still. "You ever think she'll try to come back?" he asked. I shook my head. "Nah, she's too busy learning how hard life gets when nobody's carrying you." He nodded. "Good, because I'm not framing another painting." I laughed. "Deal?" We sat there in silence for a while before I said, "You know what the crazy part is? The best revenge wasn't any of that stuff that happened. It was just stopping." Danny glanced over. "Stopping what?" "Stopping the enabling. Stopping the arguments. Stopping pretending she'd change." He smirked. "So basically, you retired from stupidity." "Exactly." That night, I went to bed with one thought repeating in my head. Peace isn't revenge. It's better. Revenge still ties you to the person who hurt you. Peace just cuts the rope completely. When someone laughs at the idea of respecting you, the best thing you can do isn't to fight them. It's to walk away and mean it. Because once you stop saving people from the consequences of their own choices, you learn the most important lesson of all. Respect yourself enough to leave, and never look back. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.